Hello my dear students, welcome to computer science class. Let us continue with our chapter, that is control statements. In our previous video, we have discussed the looping structure, that is do while statement, and then we were discussing about the program, that is to find the all even numbers from the range 1 to 25 using the do while loop. So we have seen how the program works and what is the tracing, right? Now in this video, let me execute this program, okay, and then further we shall discuss about the program, that is whether the entered number is a Armstrong or not. Okay, let me show the execution of the program to print the numbers, even numbers from the range that is 1 to 25. Now look at the same program here. Okay, I have initialized the value of I to be 2, and then if here, because we are using the do while statement, the condition will not be tested initially, therefore we can refer this do while statement as the post tested looping structure, because the condition is been checked at the end part. Okay, so irrespective whether the condition is true or false, at least once the statements will get executed. Okay, so here the controls directly makes an entry into the loop. Okay, the I value will be printed. Every time the I value will get incremented by 2, and then lastly the condition will be checked whether I is less than or is equal to 25, because initially the value of I is 2. Okay, 2 is printed first and then I would increment by 2, that I becomes 4. Okay, 4 is less than or is equal to 25. Yes, the condition is true. Therefore, since condition is true, the repetition would take place. Okay, this is how exactly the working of the do while. Once this condition is not satisfied, the control immediately jumps to the next statement after the do while structure. Now let me execute and show. Now this will print the even numbers between the range from 1 to 25, because we were specific enough in giving the number here. Okay, so therefore it will print the even numbers within the given range. Let me compile here, children. So I got 0 errors. Okay, and then let me run the code. See here, automatically we got this output. Let me execute one more time. So here let me change the range, children. I'll make this one as 20. Let me do the 20. Only if you want some other range, then you can just change the while loop. Change the range to the 20. And just to save the once again program. Okay, save it and then go for the compilation. Go for compiling. I got 0 errors, and then just run the code. When you run the code, see, I just got the even numbers between the range from 2 to 20. Okay, I hope children you are able to understand. Moving on to the next program that is related to the do while statement is the Armstrong program here. Now the first question is, what do you mean by Armstrong number? Armstrong number in the sense, for example, if I give the value as if I give the value as 22, okay, the cube of each number and the sum of all those cubes has to give me the same number. Say for an example, when I have given the number as 22, 2 cube plus 2 cube should give me total answer as 22. Understood? Then such numbers I can refer it as an Armstrong number. Suppose if I give the number as 99. Okay, the sum of the cube of those two numbers should give me again the total as 99 only. Such numbers I can refer as an Armstrong number. Say for an example, 9 cube plus 9 cube should give me the total as 99 only. If it is giving me the total as 99, then I can refer such numbers to be as an Armstrong number. Otherwise, I can say that it is not an Armstrong number. That means the sum of the cube of each digit present in that particular number. Suppose if I have 101, that is 101, then to find out the Armstrong number, what is the logic? That is 1 cube plus 0 cube plus 1 cube should give me the total as, that is 101 only the answer. wherein I will not get that Therefore, I can say that it is not 101 is not an Armstrong number. I hope children you are able to understand the concept of Armstrong. Now let me see the program here. How do we write? So this is the header files we are using, and then we have taken the 4 variables of data type integer. N I have taken to ask the user to enter the value, and whatever the user is entering, I am storing it the value in the n. And then sum I am taking because I need to perform the sum of all those cubes of those 3 digits or 3 or 2 digits, whatever you are entering. So to hold the sum I have taken this particular variable, and num I have taken because I need to compare finally the answer. So therefore I have taken the num, and digit I have taken the variable because I need to whatever the cube or whatever the remainder I am getting, no, when I need to separate, no, see when I said as 101 in 101 number 1 I should separate first and then take a cube of that 1. Later remaining will be 10. In that 0 will be separated and 0 cube I have to take it, right? Okay, 0 has to be separated and then 0 cube. So to separate that 0, to separate the each digit from the given number, I have taken that variable known as digit to store in this. Okay, clear screen, and then I'm asking the user to enter the value. Once the user entered, whatever the user is entering the value, the same value will be stored in a variable known as num, and then I'm reinitializing the value of sum to be as 0. Why I'm doing this? Because maybe some other program might have taken the variable known as sum, okay, and that sum may contain some other value. When you take it again the sum and without reinitializing directly, if you are using this sum like this new value may add with the older value, and then it may give you the garbage value. It may give the wrong answer. So to avoid this, we are reinitializing the value of sum to be as 0. Then because they are asking you to find out the Armstrong number by using do while loop, first the set of statements will be executed, children. Am I right? So this is a structure, right? The general syntax. So do followed by, remember these are all keywords and it should be written in the lower case. So when it encounters the do, the loop will make an entry into the control makes an entry into this particular loop, and finally suppose let me consider the enter number as 153. So 153 mod 10 they will do. When 153 mod 10 they will do, in 153 3 will be separated because here this is modulus. 10 15s are 150 and the remainder we got as 3. So that 3 will be stored in a variable known as digit. Understood? Followed by the next statement, what we are having, sum is what? Initially 0. So 0 plus, now what is to find the Armstrong number? I have separated 3 from 153. Now I need to find the cube of those, and plus we need to add them. Isn't it? Cube all should be added. So plus, that is 3 into, digit contains what the number, that is 3. So 3 into 3 into 3. I hope you are able to understand. Okay, and then 0 plus 3 into 3 into 3, what value you are getting, that will be stored in a variable known as sum. Next thing is I need, so 153, 3 you have separated, what it should be the, what I need next number should be what? 15. I need that quotient, isn't it? So therefore, to get 15 I am doing the division. Okay, so that is 153 divided by 10. When you do, we have this, since it is division operation, we should concentrate on the quotient part. So 15 I will get, so 15 will be there. So after that I am actually checking the while condition. So how the while condition, up to my loop should repeat until it reaches the 0, until the given number should not be equal to 0. Now the number is what? 15. Whether 15 is not equal to 0, yes, your condition is true. Once your condition is true, again you are iterating the loop. I hope you are able to understand. Now let me explain this one with the tracing. Now as I said, num value is 153, children. Sum is initialized to 0. Whatever the n is holding, the same value will be held by the num. So at the first iteration, so this, when it encounters do, directly it makes an entry into the loop. Okay, digit is equal to n. This is not num, this is n. N divided by 10 when I do it. Sorry, n mod 10 when I do it. So 10 15s are, or 10 I have taken a single here. So 10 ones I have taken first, 10 So 5 is remainder, 3 I brought here, so 10 5s are 50. So I got the remainder here as 3. So this 3 will be placed in the digit. Followed by the next statement here, sum is 0. So 0 plus 3 into 3 into 3. I got it as 27. So 27 will be stored in the variable known as sum. After that, when I do the division operation, I got 15 as the answer. So whether 15 is not equal to 0, yes, it is true. Once the condition is true, again the repetition takes place. Now at this point of time, we can say the second iteration. What happens in the second iteration? Look at here. So second iteration, do again. So digit what it is. Now the value of n is 15 children. 15 mod 10. When I do 15 mod 10, 10 ones are, I got 5 out of it. So that 5 will be stored in the digit. Understood? Again, sum plus digit into digit into digit. That is 27 plus 5 into 5 into 5. So 5 into 5 it is 125. 125 plus 27 when I do, I'll get it as 152. Now in this 15, 5 you have separated. That means remaining what you should get, 1 as the n value you should get. Therefore 15 divided by 10 when I do, I'll get an n value here, that is a quotient. So therefore 1 will be stored in the n. And finally, after this the condition is being checked. Remember, whenever you are specifying the do while statement, always while should end with the semicolon. Now look here, while 1 is not equal to 0, yes, still your condition satisfies. On satisfying the condition, third iteration we come where the n value is 1 here children. So again do digit 1 mod 10. 1 mod 10 means how to do? 10 zeros are 0. What I got the remainder as 1. Correct? No? That will be stored in the digit. Understood? Again, sum plus, sum is, previous sum is what? 152. 152 plus 1 into 1 into 1. So that is 152 plus 1, what we got as the answer as 153. And now this, because of division operation, what I get the quotient here, that is 0. So 0 will be stored in the n value. After that condition is being checked. What is there in the condition? Whether while 0 is not equal to 0, the condition becomes false here. Actually 0 is equal to 0, but here its condition is 0 is not equal to 0, condition becomes false. Once the condition becomes false, the control will come out of this do while structure and control jumps the very next statement which is there in the program. Now coming back to the program here, what is the next statement in the program? I am comparing. What is the sum value? As per this tracing, the sum latest value of sum is 153. And what is there in the num? Already the n value initially only we have moved it in the num. So 153. So whether 153 is equals to 153. Now this is what equality operator. It's not an assignment, it's an equality operator. Whether 153 is equals to 153, yes, your condition satisfies. So once this condition is satisfying, I can print that it is an Armstrong number. I hope children you are able to understand. This logic is very much similar to that of sum of all the digits. Only thing is you need to just find out the cube here. Only this particular changes. And variables you can take anything. Same num or n, that is left to you. Okay. Then coming back to the program here, see, if 153 is equals to 153, I am printing it's an Armstrong number. If it was not matching, like sum, if I had got around 160 or 165, whether 165 is equal to 153, condition fails. On that condition, since it is a if else selection statement, it is if this condition satisfied, then true part of this if statement is this one. What is the false part? If on not satisfying this condition, directly the execution goes to the else part. So therefore I will be able to see here as it is not an Armstrong number. Similarly, when I have taken the number as 101, when you take the cube and add it, you are not getting it total result as 101. In that case, what happens? The sum value will be something else, that is 1 cube. You will be getting 2, hardly 2 you got. Whether 2 is equals to 101, condition fails. Once this condition fails, automatically the control jumps to the false part of the statement which is there in the else part. So what is the purpose of this else part? This else part will be executed only when the condition is failed. So because condition is failed, I'll be getting the output as it is not an Armstrong number, followed by get ch and then followed by the closing bracket. The closing bracket is not not come here, but actually the closing bracket is here. I hope children you are able to understand, and this is one of the practical program, so you should know this program, and please do copy this tracing part. Understood? Now let me execute this program and show you. Now this is a previous output. Coming back to the Armstrong number program. So this is an Armstrong number program. Okay, the same thing here, and let me show the program completely. See, now I'll execute. First I'll compile this. When I compile, I got 0 errors, and then now I'll just run the code. Now let me enter the number as 101. We'll see 101. You can take any number. See, it's not an Armstrong number because 1 cube plus 0 cube plus 1 cube will not give me total answer as 101. Let me execute with 153 children. 153 when I do it, 153 when I give the number, execute. See, it's an Armstrong number. I hope you are able to clearly understand the tracing of the programs. Okay, now let us move on to the next concept, that is the difference between while and do while statement. Very, very important from your exam point of view, children. Now one more, before we go to the next concept, one more value I have taken for your understanding purpose. Now let me take an entered number as 25 here. Okay, so when I take the 25 at the first iteration, okay, enter the number 25. So the loop makes, the control makes a direct entry into the loop. So this here I have just replaced the variables with the directly values only. We have taken the first modulus operator. So 25 mod 10, when I do 25 mod 10, so 10 2s are 20, we know. Okay, 5 is the remainder, because in 25 first 5 should be separated, take the cube of it. Okay, and next second 2 should be separated, take a cube of 2 and add with this 5 cube, then only we are able to find out whether it's an Armstrong number or not. So therefore when I do this modulus operator, I got the remainder as 5. I have placed it in a variable known as digit here. Then this 0 is nothing but is a sum value. Sum was initially initialized with 0. So 0 plus 5 cube into 5 cube. So I got here 125. Correct? No? So 125 is being stored in the sum. This is a sum as per the program. Am I right? So this is a sum variable. Followed by the very next statement, that is 25 divided by 10, because only thing when 5 is moved out, when 5 you have separated, the remainder quotient what we got here as 2. So I need to get the total number, the number has to be as 2 here. So 25 divided by 10 when I do, I get the 2 value separately. Then I am checking the while condition. While 2 is not equal to 0, here should be a semicolon. Okay, I missed it out. So 2 is not equal to 0. Yes, your condition is satisfying. Since your condition is satisfying, again repetition takes place, where in the second iteration, look at this. So 2 mod 10, that is 10 zeros are 0, I got the remainder as 2. So 2 will be stored in the, that is digit. So previously digit's content was 5, it will be erased, and now digit holds the new value as 2. Then 125 plus, this is a previous sum value, 125 plus, this is digit into digit into digit. So digit is holding the value as 2. So therefore 2 into 2 into 2 we got the total sum, and we got is 133 we got. And then finally we are doing the division operation, 2 divided by 10. Since it is a division operation, we are seeing at the quotient it is 0. Now let me check the condition. Whether 0 is not equal to 0, the condition becomes false. So once the condition is false, the control comes out of this complete do while structure and it moves to the next statement. What is there in the next statement, children? Sum. What is there in the sum? 133. And what is there in the num? That is 25. Whether 133 is equal to 25, the condition is false. Because the condition is false, the true part of this if statement was actually it is an Armstrong number. That part will be skipped and else part will be executed, that it is not an Armstrong number. I hope you are clearly understanding. Moving on to the next topic, that is a comparison of while and do while statement. This is a very important question from your annual exam point of view or any upcoming exam, because every year they are asking the difference between while or do while, or they will be asking the difference between RAM and ROM. Understood? So certain specific differences questions are there which will appear 100% in the annual examination. Understood? So the first comparison what we have during the while state, and remember, in while writing the difference between, this is how you should write while and do while. Some of the students in your examination you have just listed out the points in RAM and listed out the points in ROM. That is not the way to write the differences. This is how you should make the differences, and exactly opposite, difference with this and difference with this, it should match. This is how you should write. Understood? The first difference is that it is a pre-tested looping structure. Am I right? And this, in case do while, it is a post-testing looping structure. And it tests the given condition at the initial point of looping structure. Yes or no? In while condition, first the condition has been checked at the initial point, whereas in case of do while, it tests the given condition at the last of the looping structure. Just now we have seen the programs there. At the last we are checking the condition, but first the statements are executed. Now this is the second difference. Here what happens, if the condition is false, it will never allow the controller to execute the statements. But what happens here, even if the condition is false at the initial point also, then also this loop executes the statement at least once and then terminates. Now for example, okay, now the entered number, if it is 0, children, if it is entered number is 0, whether 0 mod 10 what I would get, 0 mod 10 I would have got 0. So 0 plus sum is again 0. Okay, 0 divided by 10 also I would have got 0. Now for the while condition, 0 is not less than 0. The condition is fails, but still what is executing, these set of statements were executing, no matter, even for the first time this condition would become false. But what happens in case of while? In the case of while statement, first only the condition is checked. Whether 0 is not equal to 0, the condition fails and it will never execute these set of statements in case of while statement. Whereas in case of do while statement, even when the condition is false at the initial point also, at least once these set of statements will be executed. That is a major difference between while and do while, children. I hope you are able to understand. Okay, now here comes what, the statements may not be executed even once, because at the starting only while condition, if the condition is failed, the statements will never ever execute. Okay, only on true, on satisfying condition, the statements will get executed. Here what happens, the statements will execute at least once, irrespective of whether the condition is true or false. At least once the statements will get executed in the do while. Understood? Now this is the general syntax. While test condition, statement 1 up to the statement n, and here do while condition, statement 1 up to statement n, and while should always terminate with semicolon. I'm repeating here, if semicolon is not given, then half marks will be deducted in your examination. Now this one will be asked for at least for 3 marks. So all these points you have to write. It's not that only 2 difference or something. All these differences are very important, and all these differences you should write when they ask you the comparison for the do while and the while statement, and the format also you should write in this way only. Remember, if it is pre-testing looping, the same opposite should match with this, okay, that it is a do while, it is post-testing looping. You cannot mismatch and write, because why I am telling this, because in your examinations you have done that way when the difference between RAM and ROM was been asked. You shouldn't do that. Okay. Now, moving on to the next looping structure, that is for loop, a very important from your exam point of view. So, usually in the annual exam, most of the time they have asked you, what is for loop? Explain briefly the for looping structure. Okay. So, next we are going to study about the for loop. A very important one. Now this for loop is called as fixed execution looping structure. Why we call it this one as a fixed looping structure? Because now we have while loop, we have do while loop, we have for loop. So all these three comes under the looping structure only, children. You may ask us when to use while, when to use do while, and when to use the for loop. Yes, exactly. But in case of for loop, what happens when we know in advance how many times the loop has to be iterated? Okay, then we can go for the for loop. Say for an example, now here I have written the code, a program segment. For I is equal to 1, I should be less than or is equal to 5, and I plus plus. I know this loop has to be iterated exactly how many times? At least it should be equals to 5. That means at least 5 times I know my loop has to iterate. When I know in advance that how many times that my loop has to be iterated, then go for the for loop. If I don't know how many times the loop has to be iterated, depending upon the user, how much number, what number he is giving, so depending upon that the iteration should happen. In that case you can go for the while, or you can even go for the do while statement also. When I know the fixed number of times iteration, then this for looping structure proves to be the best looping structure. I hope. Now in this for statement we have 3 parts, children. In this for, you can see this general syntax. In this for looping statement we have 3 sections here. The first one is the initialization. The second one is loop ending condition. Now that means what? This is a condition when it should terminate. That means looping statement, how many times of iteration takes place depending upon this condition. And the third one is nothing but, the third part is either increment or the decrement. So therefore this for loop is having 3 sections. The first one is initialization, next one is a test condition, and the third one is increment or the decrement. Okay, now let me explain this one. Now look at the flow chart here. Now I can call this one as counter value, but before I say this, I'll just show you this one example. Initialization, that means what? I have taken one variable known as I can refer this I as a counter variable. Now this entire loop is being controlled by a variable known as I. Okay, it's initialization, when it should terminate, and how the I loop has to be incremented. Everything is being controlled by this variable known as I. Therefore, I can refer this I to be as an counter variable, or you can even refer it as a control variable is also fine. So, in this particular general syntax, the initialization is actually an assignment statement which has been assigned to a counter variable. Isn't it? Look at this. I is equals to 1. This is an assignment statement. Always initialization in the sense what? We can initialize the value to a variable. Therefore, I can say that it is an initialization statement. So, this initialization consists of an assignment statement. Then condition. Now this condition can have any relational expression, because so whether I should be less than or equals to 5 or I should be greater than, we are actually making use of relational expression to find out how many times this counter variable has to iterate. Understood? So it determines, this condition actually determines when the loop will exit. Now I looking at this, I can say that when my counter variable becomes 6, then I can say that this particular condition will exit. Okay, so I am able to determine when this actually loop exits. So this condition actually determines when the loop exits. Now moving on to the third part, that is what? Increment or the decrement. This defines how the control variable will changes after every loop is repeated. That means what? After every iteration, this increment or the decrement parts tells whether the I value is getting incremented or I value is getting decremented. You can increment the I value by 1 or you can increment the I value by 2 also. Understood? So this third part, increment or decrement part, it is actually determining how does the, that is loop variable, loop control variable is changing every time the loop is iterated. I hope you are able to understand. Say for an example, here I is equals to 1. Okay, this is fine. Next, the how execution takes place, the very next it comes to the condition. Okay, I is less than or equal to 1. What is the value of I? That is 1. 1 is less than or is equal to 5. Yes, my condition is true. Since the condition is true, the controls enters into the loop and it will execute the true part of the statement of this for loop. That is, it first sets the width and then print the value of this particular variable, that is I. That means what is printed? 1 is printed. Again, after that, I gets this loop gets iterated or repeated, and it comes to where? It comes to the third part. Understood? I gets incremented. So I value will become 2. Okay. When it becomes 2, initialization will execute only once. Again, control will never come back to this. Control comes to the condition. I becomes 2. 2 is less than or is equal to 5. Yes, the condition is true. Once the condition is true, immediately it will enter the loop and execute this statement. 2 will get printed. Again, the control jumps to the increment or decrement operator. So, therefore, I am telling that this condition is initialization will execute only once, and this condition actually determines when the loop will terminate, and this increment or decrement tells you how the loop is getting incremented and how it is changing every time the loop is repeated. I hope children you are able to understand. Now here the flow chart. The counter variable I said. So I is what I can say it as a counter variable. Why I refer it as counter variable? Because it is controlling the entire loop. Therefore I can refer it as a counter variable. How do I represent here? See. For counter is equal to initial value to the final value. IV stands for initial value to the final value. That means what? I is equal to 1. That is initial value. Up to final value is what? It will become 5. Okay. I, that is 1 to 5. Till this particular condition, all the set of statements will be executed. Now, once the set of statements are executed, if the condition, if it is true, then the repetition takes place. If the condition becomes false, when I becomes 6, okay, when I becomes 6, the condition becomes false. Therefore, the control, where it goes? The control goes to the next statement. I hope children you are able to understand. So on the satisfying this condition, the set of statements will be executed, and then if again when it repeats, when I value will get incremented, again when the condition is checked, if it is true, again the set of statements will repeat it. Now this repetition keeps on continuing until this condition is true. Once the condition becomes false, the control automatically jumps to where? It actually jumps to the next statement. I hope you are able to understand. Now further part of this for loop, I'll just explain it in my next video, children. So take care of yourself. Thank you.